What if one of the most infamous figures in history didn't die when the world was told he did? Could Adolf Hitler have escaped the ashes of Berlin and lived on in hiding? On April 30th, 1945, inside the Führerbunker beneath the crumbling Reich Chancellery, Adolf Hitler, surrounded by the last remnants of his inner circle, reportedly took his own life. As Soviet forces closed in, Hitler and his wife of just one day, Eva Braun, were said to have committed suicide, he with a gunshot to the head, she by ingesting cyanide. Their bodies, according to witnesses, were quickly burned in the garden above the bunker. But here's the twist. The Soviets were the first to arrive, and they controlled the scene. What they found, or claimed to find, only deepened the mystery. Initially, Soviet reports were conflicting. First, they claimed to have found the remains of Hitler. Then, Joseph Stalin himself suggested Hitler might have escaped, possibly to Spain or Argentina. Was this mere propaganda or a hint at something darker? The world was left to speculate. The Western Allies accepted the testimony of Hitler's staff and the burnt remains as proof of his death, but the Soviet Union never provided definitive evidence. In fact, their secrecy and reluctance to share information only fueled growing conspiracy theories. In 1968, the Soviets published a book asserting they had conclusively identified Hitler's remains through dental records. Yet decades later, in 2009, a DNA analysis conducted on a skull fragment held in Russian archives, long believed to be Hitler's, revealed that it belonged not to a man, but to a woman under 40. Could this mean the world had been duped? Adding to the intrigue, post-war sightings of Hitler were reported around the globe. From South America to the Middle East, rumors circulated that he had escaped using one of the many Nazi rat lines, networks that helped former SS officers flee Europe. Declassified FBI files and CIA documents contain numerous reports of people claiming to have seen Hitler alive, some as late as the 1950s. Most were dismissed as hoaxes or mistaken identity. But could all of them have been wrong? Then there's the case of Argentina, a country with a large German immigrant population and a documented history of sheltering Nazi fugitives like Adolf Eichmann and Josef Mengele. Could Hitler have found refuge there, living in secret while the world believed him dead? Skeptics argue that Hitler was physically and mentally deteriorating by the end of the war, and that escape would have been impossible. His closest aides insisted he chose death over capture, yet the lack of clear photographic or forensic evidence has kept the conspiracy alive for decades. So what's the truth? Most historians agree. Hitler died in the bunker in 1945. The evidence, while fragmented, is consistent with the testimonies of those who were there. But the lingering questions, the inconsistencies, and the lack of definitive proof have carved out a space where doubt continues to thrive. The story of Hitler's death remains one of the most fascinating historical enigmas of the 20th century. Was it the final act of a collapsing regime, or the beginning of a decades-long deception? History tells one story, but mystery tells another, and sometimes the truth lies buried in the shadows of both.